It's 10 p.m. in Banjul. This is the news. First, the headlines. A fresh start in pursuit of higher education. A new batch of students numbering over 500 takes the first step to university life as the UTG welcomes the class of 2018 to their student community. Local charity Big Smile Project hands over relief aid to over 70 communities in the Gambia. Germany's ballooning immigrant population sparks more debate about ways of tackling this critical issue in Europe's most powerful economy. And freezing winter conditions trigger a record amount of snow blizzards across the United States of America. Thousands of flights have been cancelled and many airports closed. These and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I am MOMODOU Jan. The University of the Gambia has opened its doors to yet another batch of students who are set to pursue various academic fields at the country's highest institute of learning. The over 500 students were formally introduced to the university to their new learning as they prepare to take that step up in their educational careers. Rohibite was there and she filed in this report.
This starts the process of their induction into the University of the Gambia. This UTG class of 2018, according to UTG authorities, constitute deserving young men and women, totaling 565 students who are enrolled in the various schools of the University of the Gambia. This orientation ceremony, as explained by officials of the university, is meant to welcome and properly introduce the new intakes to the schools, rules and regulation of the university, and also motivate them to excel as the next batch of the country's elite students.
You are all here because you want to become the movers and shakers of the future. I urge you to make this happen by meeting new people, tapping into their resources, and joining the university community.
The students were engaged by the various heads of schools, deans, as well as administrative officials of the University of the Gambia, who all introduced them to the various schools and what is expected of them. MOMODOU Sow, the president of the University of the Gambia Students' Union, challenged the new students to make the most of what they have in order to excel in their education.
Fellow students, as you leave this hall today, I challenge you all to ask yourselves fundamental questions about your preparedness for university education, and let the answers you provide be your guiding principles for the next 4 years.
It is one thing to be enrolled, but another to achieve excellence. Reason university officials emphasize the need for students to make best use of their time at the university.
The issue is not to start, but of course to end. Many of you start, but at the end of the road, of course, we see some of you and make sure that you are part of those that reach the finishing line. It is the students who make the university lively. We are all here for you. And of course, you are here to seek knowledge in the gates of knowledge, because universities are where knowledge are created, innovation and creativity are produced, but that you will be part of. You will be part of the laboratory.
So the main stakeholders in this business are you. So we are here in university to what? To serve you. So you are the master and we are what? The servant.
They are now expected to adhere to the conduct of the University of the Gambia and work hard to achieve excellence so as to contribute to the development of the country. Rohibite, Grts.
Big Smile Project, a local charity, is putting smiles on the faces of people in communities around the country. The latest initiative, championed by the NGO, was in the form of presentation of relief materials to over 70 communities across the Gambia. MS Jallo has that story.
The Big Smile Project, the Gambia, has for the past 5 years been putting broad smiles on the faces of thousands of Gambians by improving their livelihoods. This welcoming ceremony in Jarabreng speaks volume of the excitement and smiles the project has brought to this Lower River Region settlement and many other communities across the country. The Big Smile Project, the Gambia, was established some 5 years ago by Seydou Sen, a Gambian resident in the United Kingdom, and wife Diana Sen. Since then, the charitable organization, which has its motto built on helping Gambians to help Gambians, has actively been working behind the scenes, complementing government's effort in key sectors such as health, agriculture, education, and sports.
I very much enjoy handing out all the goods that we have to the Gambian people. I know that they're going to make use of them, and it brings joy to my heart to be able to share whatever we have with the people of the Gambia.
What's the objective of the Big Smile project?
To empower Gambians to help Gambians. That is our motto. So by helping the people in the hospitals, in the clinics, have some of the things they require in order to help their fellow Gambians, by clothing the children, by helping with education, we are empowering the Gambians to help themselves and help their community.
It started with a donation of just one bag of second-hand clothing, but the Big Smile project has since expanded, benefiting several communities, mostly in rural Gambia, with women and children the main beneficiaries.
We started with a bag, 2 bags, 3 bags. Now we cover like 75 to 80 villages. And my wife is so supportive. He got this country at heart, and she says to me, we'll never stop, let's keep going. And since then, it's going from strength to strength.
With the Gambia striving toward food self-sufficiency, the Big Smile project has been supporting horticultural activities in 10 villages by providing the women with garden equipment, seeds, fencing, and water supply.
The same with the agricultural gardens. It's essential that they eat what they grow and grow what they eat.
The health sector is another major beneficiary of the Big Smile project, with both Serekunda Hospital, Fajikunda, Essew, Makabala, Bureng, and Kayaf health centers all receiving a donation of valuable medical items. The sterilizing machine, costing a fortune, was recently donated to the Fajikunda Health Center. The project also adopted the maternity ward at the Essew Health Center, taking care of the ward, providing the equipment and medicines required of a maternity ward.
Most of the beds and the sterilizers we brought, like yesterday, we went to Fajikunda Hospital to give them a sterilizing machine. And the head nurse just says to us, that's the one we got for about God knows when. And he said, and it's not working yesterday, that was it. And we were there yesterday as well. So just in time, we bring a new sterilizing, which costs about 8,000 to 9,000 pounds to the UK. So that was a very good move, and my wife was very pleased about that. And the guests I brought were like, wow, we might do more about that.
The Big Smile Nursery School in Sukuta is one of the charitable organization's major interventions. The nursery school is constructed and fully furnished by the project. But that's not all, because all 116 pupils enrolled at the school enjoy free education. The sponsorship also covers the salary of the teachers. In sports, the Big Smile project has donated an assortment of quality football materials worth tens of thousands of dollars to various football teams across the country. In the past week alone, they have distributed over 70 sets of football jerseys, including 2 sets of Liverpool jerseys, donated by the 5-time European champions. They have also been sponsoring football tournaments. As part of its activities, the Big Smile project organizes a cultural night in Birmingham, United Kingdom, called A Taste of Africa, and other fundraising events to tap funds for the project. It's an initiative they believe will impact positively in the lives of many ordinary Gambians. MOMODOU, Grts News.
The weekly Lumo in Farafenye is increasingly getting a lot of attention. This is due to the enviable business climate in the sprawling settlement. Ibrahim Balde visited the Lumo to measure the pulse of the market, and this is his report.
Lumo days are usually very lively, more so if you happen to visit the town of Farafenye, where there are always so many things to buy. The good thing about open-air markets or Lumo is that there are varieties of locally produced goods on sale, usually sold at relatively cheaper prices. Traders, merchandise, truck, donkey and horse carts jostle for space in this sprawling settlement that has over the years seen the Lumo change location several times.
I also want to recall that this is the third site where the Lumo has been transferred, because it has been expanding over the years, and there is this need for space to accommodate all the traders who want to come in.
Like the saying goes, the early bird catches the worm, and here in Farafenye, some of the traders are doing just that. They are trying to make meaningful business transactions. Some of the traders are coming from Senegal, which is just a stone throw away.
Well, we are at a strategic point, the border between Farafenye and Senegal. This is a strategic opportunity also for a lot of people who come from Senegal to Farafenye on a weekly basis to bring goods and services to explore all the potential offered by the weekly market, otherwise called Lumo.
As we navigated our way through the Lumo with a native of Farafenye and a ward councillor, the history of the Lumo and the economic impact it has created was thoroughly explained.
On the economic impact, when you look at the ECOWAS protocol on the free movement of goods and services across the border state of member states, these are one of the bases where we can expand to make sure that those protocols become realities for the economics of the sub-region. And I also want to recognize the fact that Farafenye, due to its size and due to the economic activity happening in Farafenye, there is very limited space in the proper market. Do you understand? Because Farafenye presently has about 3 markets other than this weekly market in town. And what we have come to realize is that there is not enough space for all the people who want to engage in business. And this weekly market therefore offers an opportunity for some of those people who don't have space in the established markets to come at least to trade on a weekly basis. That will also improve the economic livelihoods.
It is also a comparative advantage for small-scale business dealers in neighboring Senegal to take advantage of the opportunities provided elsewhere. The councillor recalled the days when the Lumo used to be very popular in this region.
The opportunity is limitless. Like I said, for the middleman, for the supplier and the retailers, I believe this is a good opportunity for them. We are right now standing, at the border between Farafenye and Poste, or between Senegal and the Gambia on this side of the country. And you can see, vehicles, passing in and out, and also, horse carts, bringing goods, on both sides of the country. So automatically, this tells you that this is a very well-established culture, of trade between the two people. And we want to make sure that the harmony that exists in the border, at the crossing point, is maintained, so that this trade, can be further expanded for the mutual benefit of, people on both sides of the border.
It is usually held every Sunday. Business individuals around the region and beyond are always optimistic about the chances of making the best out of the Farafenye Lumo at least every week. Ibrahim Abalde, Grts News.
Over 500 boxes laden with learning materials have been donated to the Gambia College, courtesy of an international charity. The books, as Janke Ture reports, are expected to improve learning at the Gambia College.
Education remains a critical element in any development process, and that is the case for the Gambia as a developing country. It is for this reason that the government and its development partners prioritize this vital sector. One man who is also making efforts to aid this process is Mohamed Kaba, a Gambian and Chief Executive Officer of the Cashew Gum Company. Kaba donated 559 boxes of books, mainly reading materials, which were distributed to different institutions as part of efforts to promote quality education in the country. The principal of Gambia College applauded the move taken by Mohamed Kaba, expressing the fact that such is a great milestone in their quest towards quality education.
Textbooks, especially for our libraries, are hard to get, and this organization is donating loads of textbooks to institutions that are at most need of these books. I have gone through the books, especially the ones donated to my institution, and I've seen that they are quite new and they are very relevant to the level for which they are meant for.
As these these books are very relevant, especially to schools. Honorable Mohammed Magazi advised the beneficiaries to maintain it and make best use of the books.
Mohammed Gandhi from India, and he said, I quote, "Be the change that you want to see in this world." What that means? If you want to be the change that you want to see in this world, you have to act to change. And how can you act to change? You have to know to act. And how can you know to act? You have to read to know.
Other speakers highlighted the importance of reading materials, particularly in enhancing quality education.
This is what we need. And if you born and raised in a country, you don't have to ask your country what is the country going to do for you, but what you are going to do for that country. And this is what it is all about. It's all about education, and it's all about development, and it's all about upgrading ourselves. We cannot depend on old books which will not serve us as we are in the third millennium. These are books which are very, very beneficiary to our education, to our future leaders of the country.
Representing the CEO of Cashew Gum Company was Abdurrahman Silla, who also advised the beneficiaries to make best use of the books, adding that if properly maintained, these materials can serve future generations.
On behalf of the CEO, I would like to thank Book of Africa, also the beneficiary to make use of these books in their libraries or in their schools, so that the books will be useful, and then the people who donate or the people who give us this book will also be glad that they give something to the schools, so that they will make use of them.
Some of the beneficiaries extended gratitude to their benefactor for the donation. The donation of these learning materials will add value to the country's educational sector. Janke Ture, GRTS.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after the short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said consistently that she believes that the solution to tackle the causes of migration, rather than the idea of closing borders. She did acknowledge public concern over the issue and also promised to take effective action.
Alles daran setzen.
And that's why I say let's do everything we can to secure our external borders. That's something we have to do, because a continent that can't control who's coming in will of course struggle to reassure its citizens. And I promise, because I know this is troubling many of you day and night, I promise to noticeably reduce the numbers this year.
Across the eastern United States, the streets are practically empty as a massive winter storm blankets the region in snow. The deadly blizzard has so far left at least 8 people dead. That part of the country had come to a standstill as people seek shelter from what could become one of the worst storms in living memory.
The U.S. Capitol building early this morning. With temperatures only just below freezing, it's a heavy, wet snow, and lots of it. It's been coming down since Friday afternoon, shrouding Washington's landmarks and sweeping people from the streets. Public transport has been shut down, while road crews battle to keep major arteries clear. By Sunday morning, forecasters say some areas could be buried under more than 90 centimeters of snow. The blizzard comes courtesy of a weather system named Jonas, 7 states from Kentucky to New Jersey have declared a state of emergency, urging people to stay indoors to avoid life-threatening risks. In Washington, many people have taken the warnings seriously, stocking up on food and other supplies.
We're just trying to make some food that'll last like 3 or 4 days, like spaghetti and stuff like that, but the grocery stores are extremely empty. No produce, so if you're not making a meal to last like spaghetti or lasagna, then you're going to be pretty hungry.
Airports, too, like Washington Dulles International, were struggling to stay open. The storm has already forced airlines to cancel thousands of flights. On the region's highways and roads, police reported hundreds of crashes and fender benders. And that was only on Friday, as the storm was just getting started. The worst of what's being called Snowzilla is still to come.
Germany has joined a link with countries sounding their alarm over the rare and potentially life-threatening Zika virus, which is, as you may know, carried by mosquitoes. German health authorities warning pregnant women to stay away from countries where the Zika virus has been spreading rapidly. Indeed, the virus has been leading to serious birth effects. The Latin America and the Caribbean are so far the regions that are worst affected.
Fumigation teams trying to get on top of the spread of the Zika virus in El Salvador. The mosquito-borne disease is a particular threat to pregnant women, and public health officials are visiting homes to warn of the dangers. The infection can cause brain damage in a developing fetus, and El Salvador joins a list of 14 countries in the Caribbean and Latin America affected by the virus. Health officials are advising putting off pregnancies for as long as the next 2 years to avoid passing on the complications. But in Brazil, the Olympic host this year, there are other concerns. Tourists from all over the world could be exposed to the virus with consequences for global public health. Doctors in several other countries, meanwhile, are advising pregnant women to postpone travel to affected areas.
We are quite concerned about the potential complications to the fetus of Zika virus infection of pregnant women. And so we really are advising that pregnant women seriously consider postponing travel to these areas if possible.
There is no vaccine or treatment for Zika, and it is difficult for pregnant women to know if they have been infected and if their child might be at risk.
We'll take our second break now. Sports is next. They pumped the iron. Some had enough time with the preps, and for others, it was the squads. But at the end, all went home with smiles, having enjoyed a thrilling night of competition. All of that was packed in one night's activity, championed by the Gambia Weightlifting and Bodybuilding Association. Babakar Senghor was watching, and he now reports.
The stats for some of these men who made the roll call for the various categories of the weightlifting and bodybuilding event was staggering. For there were champions and challengers across the board, and all were aiming to make their mark on this auspicious day, with strong muscles and sculpted body in different guises. These strong men weren't only out to show off. The storyline for the association is to promote healthier lives and encourage more people into weightlifting training. But these gloriously marked physiques often come at a cost. For these men, a routine workout, the types they displayed here, will have a gradual, slow motion effect on their bodies. The crowd roundly cheered, and the decibels were raised to dizzying levels when the show entered the business end, as the challengers stretched their bodies to the outer limits. Squats, multiple reps, torturous full body exercises. Much of these will require not only strong muscles but energy and willpower. Some have to tread on the lowest battery. The story of the night belongs to one of the country's most celebrated wrestlers, who temporarily gave up life in the arena to take up the challenge on the bench against some tough competition. Kunta Kinte, famed for his wrestling exploits, did his reputation no harm. He was in the company of some celebrated performers.
he took them on and finished third. But it was defending champion Grts 50 who upstaged them all in the bench press.
Okay, when you are going to competition, it's not easy. You have to take your time and leave everything, do hard training. Because if you are not training really, if you don't give yourself to training, do hard training, it's not going to work. So no matter what, I know if I'm going to competition, I always take my time, I leave everything and concentrate on training. Because at the end of the day, what you are going to do to the team, that's what you are going to show to your people and do your best.
They might not scale the heights of the best in weight training, but those who saw these men in action will remember a cracking night of heavy metals and bulging muscles. For Grts Sport, this is Babukar Senghor.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. A fresh start in pursuit of higher education. A new batch of students numbering over 500 has taken the first step to university life as the UTG welcomes the class of 2018 to their student community. Local charity Big Smile Project has handed over relief aid to over 70 communities in the Gambia. Germany's ballooning immigrant population has sparked more debate about ways of tackling this critical issue in Europe's most powerful economy. And freezing winter conditions have triggered record amount of snow blizzards across the United States. Thousands of flights have been cancelled and many airports closed. That's all for the news at 10. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. To stay with GRTS and enjoy the rest of our interesting programs.